back to the Late Night Show. Today I have Yasmine on with me. She's a senior at DS and is really involved with music and the sailing team, and I'm so excited to get to know her with you guys. And now I'd like to welcome Yasmine to my show. Yazzie, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, we just had the Chocolate Cafe last weekend. How was that for you?
You know, it was great. It's a little bit nostalgic because this is my last one, but it's always a really fun event. We get groups coming all the way up from the elementary school, which is always really fun to hear. And I'm one of the directors of the 6th grade jazz band, and so they got to open the event, which was very
cool.
fun. And then we got to basically close the event. The chorus went after with the high school jazz band, so it was great. I got to hear all of the groups. Everyone sounded great, and yeah, we had a lot of fun in high school jazz band, and the kids sounded great in the 6th grade jazz band. So
That's really
I really
great.
enjoyed.
Any particular favorite song from the show over during the cafe?
Yeah, we did this really cool piece called Cape Verdean Blues in the high school jazz band, and I got to play violin for that, and I usually play trumpet in the high school jazz band, so it was kind of nice to get to play my other instrument. And it was actually arranged specifically for our band by a friend of Mr. Dupre's from the middle school named Mark Hamilton, who's a teacher at Wellesley College, and so he arranged this great piece for us, which was really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's so awesome. So what instruments do you play, and how do you play music at DS?
I play violin and trumpet, and so I primarily play trumpet at DS. I started playing trumpet in 4th grade for DS, and so I'm in the concert band here. I'm also in the high school jazz band, and I am a director, like I said, of the 6th grade jazz band, Jazz 101, which is really fun.
Yeah.
And as for violin, I play violin more out of school than in school, but I do the pit orchestra. I have for all 4 years. And I play violin for that, which is really, really fun.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
In March, Into the Woods will be performing. I know you're in the pit. How's that experience been so far?
You know, it's so great. It's playing in a pit orchestra is a totally different experience than playing in other large ensembles. And so it's really like you have to really know the music very well, be able to adapt really quickly. And it's great. We've got a good crew of a lot of DS students, but then also some students from other high school students from outside of DS, friends of mine who I've asked to join so that we can have a better instrumentation, and then a few professionals as well that kind of fill in the gaps. But it'll be a great show.
That's really cool. Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go see it. Outside of music, how do you spend your free time? Perhaps this weather's hopefully will warm up soon.
Yeah, well, I know I would love some warmer weather, but I mean, I spend a lot of time reading, doing homework, of course, but also sailing in the spring, which is great.
So you're on the sailing team at DS, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What has been like the most challenging or maybe rewarding part of being on the team the past 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's really been kind of a growth, a long journey of growth, because we started when I was a freshman. We had a coach, and then when I was a sophomore, we didn't quite have a coach anymore. And so we had Mr. Williamson and Mr. Amara, who were very kind to be faculty advisors. But I'd say that was really that year really kind of challenged everybody, because it was we had to learn ourselves and be teaching ourselves. And we didn't have a whole lot of events to go to, so that was challenging. But last year we got Luce back, which was great, and he's going to be our coach again this year. And that really was really rewarding, because that season, from the start of the season to the finish, we really saw growth as a team.
Yeah, so. Definitely. That's very cool.
Yeah.
You also sail during the summer down in Nantucket.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
It's so amazing. I've been sailing competitively. I've been sailing since I was 5. I've been sailing competitively since I was probably 8, and I always sailed at the Plymouth Yacht Club. And a few summers ago, we started sailing in Nantucket, and it's great because I have so many more opportunities. We go to a lot of regattas, like races off island as a smaller team, but then I also get the chance to sail boats that I had never sailed before, and so it really kind of teaches me about not just sailing the boats that I'm really comfortable sailing, but it also like kind of gets me to like step out of my comfort zone, pushes the boundaries of what I know, and so I'm kind of always learning more, which is really a cool experience.
Definitely. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any like funny moments from being out on the water or something that might have gone awry?
Yeah, I have many. I have the one that we sank 2 summers ago. This was out in Nantucket, and so we were sailing. It was super, super windy, and probably the waviest conditions I've sailed in, maybe like 3-foot seas.
Oh, wow.
So like think of like a younger sibling, like about that.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And we were flying this special sail called a spinnaker, which you only use when you're going downwind, and it's really big, and it makes you go super fast, but it also makes the front of the boat, the bow, really heavy. And so we caught a wave, and we also caught a gust of wind at the same time, and so suddenly the boat started to go like this and like plow like this, and we just started taking on water, so much water that it didn't just start like flying out because we were going really fast, but we got too much water in the boat basically, and the boat started to slow down, which meant more water's pouring in, and the boat literally started to sink. And I was freaking out because I had never been on a boat that was literally sinking like this before. And we were out in the middle of the ocean too. So I was like, what do we do? And the person I was sailing with, my skipper, was like, don't worry. And so we just capsized the boat, and that lets all the water drain out. And then we flipped the boat back upright, and we were both like, let's take the spinnaker down and sail without that third sail. I don't think we need that today. It's too windy. So that was definitely an interesting experience, one I don't hope to repeat, but I learned a lot, and now I know what not to do to avoid that.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
Congrats on Bowdoin. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
Are you excited to start college there in the fall?
I am. Actually, the first time I heard about Bowdoin was sailing in Nantucket in the summer, because a lot of my coaches and a lot of my coworkers went to Bowdoin, and they were telling me just like wonderful things, both people who sailed at Bowdoin and people who didn't sail at Bowdoin, and they were just telling me what a wonderful school it was. And so I kind of started looking into it, and I really felt this connection to it. It's this small liberal arts school that's very academically rigorous. That's kind of what I was looking for, but also it's like it's small enough that you can kind of have a relationship with your professors. You can get the help you need if you need it, and it's just like that kind of a community felt really special to me. And they offered the programs that I was looking for, and it's up in beautiful Maine, so it's really hard to go wrong with the location.
Do you think you're gonna do sailing there?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about it, and I've been talking with the coach. It's leaning towards that way, but I'm not really decided for sure one way or another.
I mean, you have plenty of time to figure it out. What do you think you're going to study?
Ooh, well, I'm kind of waffling back and forth between 2 majors right now. I'm probably going to study government and legal studies, and I would love to do 2 minors, 1 minor in economics and 1 minor in music.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Kind of cover all the bases.
What kind of led you to like finding your love for your major?
Well, the original major that I wanted was international relations. But the thing about a lot of small liberal arts colleges is they don't actually offer international relations. It's just like it's slightly more difficult, like at a small school, to find that. But what Bowdoin has, which is so great, is they have this government and legal studies major where I can concentrate in international relations. Oh. So I actually, technically, the name of my major is government and legal studies, but what I really would study, what I would focus on, concentrate on, is international relations. And they would let me do that, which then I can study abroad. And it's kind of like just how different governments interact. And I've always thought that was really fascinating, just kind of watching how the world interacts with each other. And I think a good way to look at that is through cooperations between governments. And so that's kind of where the international relations pull came. And so it's less of like the government and legal studies as a whole, and more specifically the international relations portion of it.
Well, that's so cool. And that's so cool that you found a place that offers that for you.
Yeah.
Thinking back on your years at DS, what have you found to be the most rewarding part about the community or culture here?
Oh, I mean, There are a lot of great things about DS. I've chosen DS over. I had the opportunity to go to private school, and I chose to stay at DS because it just has so much to offer. You have opportunities to get involved in so many different things. You can get involved in drama. You can also get involved in sports. You can also get involved in music. You can also get involved in the sustainability task force. I don't know. There's so much to do, and there's like within that so many different things to do. There's such a wide variety of what you can do, which is really cool. And I think that like the whole piece of like getting involved is what really like made it appealing, because it just creates such a tight-knit sense of community. Like yes, as a school, but even smaller within like your sports team, within your band, within
Definitely.
your club. And it gives a lot of people the opportunities for leadership roles. And it also like fosters this sense of community both on like a smaller scale and a larger scale, which I think is just something that a lot of schools, particularly other larger public schools, just really don't have.
Right, yeah. And we're so glad that you stayed.
Yes.
And finally, what's one piece of advice you want to leave for underclassmen?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I have is to make sure to balance your time, to manage your time, because school is really important, obviously, but so are these clubs, so are these communities, and so are your friends. And so it takes time to find this balance between a school life, a social life, athletic life, but it's a balance that everybody needs to find, not just for now in school, but for later in life. And so I think it's really like the best piece of advice I can give anyone is to get involved, do as much as you can, but also make sure that you balance that out with your academics. Make sure that every part of your life is as equal as you can make it.
Definitely.
To enjoy everything the most.
Wonderful advice. Well, thank you so much for being on my show. It was wonderful to have you.
Yes, thank you so much. I had a great time here.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out next week's episode and also the previous episode